Hi guys, welcome. It's been a minute. I've missed you guys. Hope you are doing well. Today is a good one. We're going to be talking about traveling based on one of my recent trips to sunny Las Vegas. I love traveling quite a bit and I'm always looking for creative ways, just ways to make it cheaper, budget friendly. So I'm going to share with you all my tips and tricks for this trip and just in general, maybe things I didn't do that I think you could try and could actually work out pretty good for you. So the trip started off with me jetting off in a Spirit airline flight to Vegas. So let's start from the beginning, right? How do you get reasonably priced flights? So for me, Vegas is pretty close to me actually. So it's a relatively cheap flight just based on that. And I'm able to get a direct flight from where I am to Vegas, just about 1, 2 hours, and I'm there. But what I do to make it cheaper is I go to Expedia and I bundle the flight with the hotel and all. But even if you do go directly on like the Spirit airline site, it is about the same price. It's just a bit cheaper if you bundle it with Expedia. Something else you could do, if you don't have, if it's not a cheap flight for you, like if you don't live so close to there, is you could go to Skip Lagged. So that is SKIP Lagged, LAGGED. It's an app. And on there, you're able to get cheap flights. Basically, you're able to get cheap flights on that site based on the algorithm of the site and how it works and the way it looks for flights. So that's also a way to get cheaper flights, is going to Skip Lagged or those sort of discount flight apps or websites. Okay, so I'm also going to be talking about the pricing of stuff as we go along so you have an idea. For me, this was a 4 day, 3 night trip. The flight was about $78. And like I said, and this is US dollars. And like I said, I did purchase this on Expedia. I bundled it with the hotel, right? And the hotel that I picked this time around was Rio. So if you've not been to Vegas, this is a tip for you guys. It's very useful to stay on this trip. The way Vegas is set up is so nice for tourists because their airport is literally where everything is. I mean, all the entertainment and the activities is on this single street, which is about a maybe 3 to 6 miles. I'm not sure the exact number, but it's basically this long street, South Las Vegas Boulevard, and all the things are on here, and the hotels are on here as well, and the like airports is literally at the beginning of this trip. So make sure to get your hotel on this trip because it will make things so much easier for you. You won't need to rent a car. Parking is not that easy anyway on this trip. So it just makes sense to stay there so you can walk everywhere and just have a good time. If you're drinking or whatever, you don't have to worry about driving and all of that. So that is my number one tip. And typically I do stay on this trip. It's relatively cheap to stay on this trip. But for some reason, I thought this Rio hotel was on this trip. It turns out it is not on this trip. It is close to this trip, but not on this trip, such that I need to take a bus before I get on the strip. All right, and I'll talk more about transportation in a bit, but it just made it a bit clumsy, so I would not recommend staying in a hotel that is off the strip. In terms of the pricing for the hotel, so for Vegas hotels, the way they do it is the hotel price itself is typically very cheap, but they have these resort fees that are about 30 to 45 bucks a night. So that adds on to the price of the hotel room itself and makes it a bit more expensive, right? But in general, the hotels are cheap. I mean, you do have to add on the resort fee, but they're cheap. In general, things in Vegas are pretty cheap. So for me, it's a trip I like taking because it's relatively cheap. I think the expectation is you would be spending a lot of money gambling. So if you are not gambling, it turns out to be a really cheap trip for you. So let me just say this before I get to how much the hotel was actually. So if you do like to drink and all of that, a hack tip trick you could use is I mean, do this with caution. If you have a gambling problem, you probably don't want to do this. But something to note is like all the hotels, like the lobbies and all of that, they're very big, they're humongous, and they have like slots, machines, gambling stuff, and all of that all over. So if you're playing on the slots machines and all of that, you are actually entitled to free drinks by waitresses who that's their job. They're basically going round and round the hotel lobby and the slots and the machines and everything to ask for what you want to drink. So that's just a cheap way to get your drink fill. Maybe just budget that you would spend, I don't know, $5, under $20 on these machines. Do this responsibly. I don't do this because I don't play the slots machines or gamble, but if it's your thing, then this is just a smart way to do it, right? So anyway, for the price of the hotel, for me, I've seen it anywhere as low as $8 up to, I don't think it's ever been more than 40 for me. $30 per night for me, if anything close to that. But this hotel was $31.60 per night. I was staying 4 days, 3 nights. So that was about $95. And then the resort fees for this hotel was about $45 per night. So that came to about $135 for the 3 nights, and in all it was $230 for the hotel. You can get much, like, way cheaper. You just have to be strategic about booking in advance, the day of the week you go. Okay, this is also a very important tip. Vegas, and I think in general, going to tourist locations over the weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the hotel prices are way more expensive than if you go during the week. So I typically do Tuesday through Friday, that kind of a thing, which is what I did on this trip. So you can do that as well to cut costs in that way. Okay, so that's what it came to for me for the flights and the hotel. Okay, so let's get into the trip itself. Okay, so we had arrived in sunny Las Vegas at this point, and guys, I want to talk about how I do my transport in Vegas. Then in terms of transportation, okay, so there is an app, it's called the RTC app, which is the transit system in Vegas. And what I do is I buy a pass depending on how long I'm staying. I believe I bought a 3-day pass for this trip, and that is $20. There's a cheaper one. The reason this one is $20 is because it includes access to strip transportation. So the strip transportation is different from the local transportation buses. It's called the Deuce, and it just goes up and down the strip, and it's actually a different kind of bus too. I think it's a bit nicer, but whatever, that could be up for debate. So I paid $20. I paid $20 for the 3 days to have access to the city as well as the strip, which is really important for a tourist, right? Because that's where you're going to be going up and down the strip, where all the hotels, the sights and sounds and everything is. Okay, so this is I use that to take the bus to the hotel. If you do not want to, bear in mind this is a budget friendly video, to have a good time on a budget. It's convenient taking the bus to the hotel, especially if you're staying on the strip. It's not difficult at all, but you can also take an Uber if you want. Ubers are also relatively cheap in Vegas, I think, compared to everywhere else I've traveled to. So this is the hotel when I got there, Rio, and like I was telling you, they have all these slots machines and the gambling and the poker and cards and all of that in the lobbies of most hotels. So I'm just showing you that here. And this is the room. Sorry, I had messed it up a bit before I remembered to take a video, but yeah, this is the room. Is very basic. I've been to nicer rooms in Vegas, honestly, so just stay on the strip because this is a bit more of a dated room. There are also dated rooms on the strip, but you can get better than this, trust me. But this is just a view of the room, a view of the bathroom, and all of that. I'd already stayed in it at this point, so excuse the mess, okay? No judgment free zone. But yeah, just a basic hotel room. Okay, so this is day one. I just got to Vegas and all of that. I'd taken the bus to the hotel, checked in, showing you the hotel and all of that. So what did I do day one? I've been to Vegas quite a number of times, but I'd actually never been on the high roller. The high roller is this it's like the London Eye. It's this Ferris wheel like thing that you can get on and see a high level view. Literally, you're high up in the sky view of Vegas. I'd never done it in the past because I've done it in London, and London is like the original one, because Vegas, they kind of have like dupes, replicas of everything in Vegas. So they have a replica of Paris, a replica of the high roller, and all well, it's called the London Eye. So I just felt like, well, I've been on the original, so why go? But on this trip, I ended up going on the high roller. It cost $26.25. A tip here is sometimes you can find these things cheaper on Groupon, but for this one, it was the same price on Groupon, so I didn't bother going through the process of getting it on Groupon. So I think it's actually really nice that I got on the high roller at this point, because the Sphere is a new attraction in Vegas. So that's the ball thing you're seeing. It's an interactive, immersive, like 4D whatever attraction that you can enjoy in Vegas. And in the past, you wouldn't have been able to see it on the high roller because it wasn't there. But now that it is there, I can see it, and this is what I'm sharing with you guys. It's really cool even from the outside. So I can only imagine how like cool and dope it is to be on the inside and have the full immersive experience. I didn't go to the Sphere, but I got to see a bit of it from my spin on the high roller. I do recommend going on the high roller, especially if you haven't been on this Ferris wheel type thing before, because even though I had, it's a different sight you're seeing, and it was really enjoyable. Yeah, I've also been on something similar in Tennessee. After that, I went to In-N-Out Burgers. This is one of my favorite places to eat in Vegas. It's relatively cheap, and I'm gluten-free. I try to eat gluten-free, so they have options. Like, they serve most burgers and fries, basically. But what they do is they can make your burger what they call protein style, right? So they wrap the burger in lettuce as opposed to a bun. So I got that, as well as their loaded animal fries, which is just delicious. Sorry, I forgot to take a picture, but it's fries with so many nice toppings. I think like onions and cheese, and it's just really nice, and it's relatively cheap. So it cost me $11. Like for the animal fries, the double cheeseburger, and all of that was $11. After that, and so this place where the high roller is and In-N-Out, they're all in one area. And it's like directly by the strip, which is why you should stay close to the strip. It's called Linq Promenade. It's where the Linq Hotel is. It's where Flamingo is. I highly recommend staying at the Flamingo. It's usually relatively cheap, and it's a nice place to stay. It has nice attractions. It has a nice pool, like for just to relax for the day pool parties and things like that. It's really cool. I highly actually recommend staying in Flamingo. Rio did not even have a pool. And their resort fees is one of the higher I've had to pay, because I think Flamingo is 30 something, but theirs was like 40 something. And actually, I think Flamingo is 41, but Rio, their resort fees is 45, and they don't even have a pool. So anyway, so after going to In-N-Out, I went to Ghiradelli. It's also in that Linq Promenade area, and they have amazing sundaes. If you're on a budget, you might want to skip this one because it's actually pretty pricey. But I was able to get a vegan hot chocolate sundae. It's really nice, really delicious. This is a shop. Sorry, I forgot to take a picture of the sundae, but this is the store. And it's really amazing. It has all the bells and whistles that comes with a loaded sundae. But guys, not budget friendly. It was $18. So yeah, And also, guys, so I was just walking down the Linq Promenade after I got my in and out. I got my sundae. I was stuffed, and then I saw this macarons place, guys. And I just had to get me some macaroons as well. I guess I was just balling this first day, eating and enjoying the macaroons. I think I got about 5, and it cost me like $12. So yeah, it was very delicious. It's in that Linq Promenade area. If you're taking a walk, I don't think you can miss it if you are interested. And then in that area is also the Museum of Selfies, where you can take amazing, beautiful selfies. All the props and everything are there. I didn't go in there, but if you're interested, you can go there. And also, you can also check maybe on Groupon. Maybe you can find a deal for going there to make it cheaper for you. Okay, so something I also do is so water when you're traveling can be really expensive. I have a whole video on this, guys. People didn't really watch it, but it's worth watching in my opinion. Water can be pretty pricey, so what I do is I go to a local grocery store, and I just buy like a gallon of water for 1 to 2 days, because I drink a lot of water. So there's CVS's and Walgreens on the strip, so depending on where you're staying, there should be one close to you. So after I was done buying and eating all these goodies, I just stopped at a CVS and I grabbed me some water and snacks to eat the next day, which cost me about $14. And then I went down the strip. I had a look at the Bellagio display. That's always a good one to look at. By the way, this was like in November, December, so there was this Formula One thing happening in a couple of days. There was a lot of like blockage and construction and all of that, so I didn't have a direct view to the Bellagio Fountains. But other than the Bellagio Fountains, something that is really good to do in Vegas, and it's free as well. The Bellagio Fountains is free as well. They have this musical water show. I think every couple of minutes, I don't remember, but every couple of minutes, if you wait there, one will come up shortly. So it's really beautiful to see. And then also, if you go into the Bellagio, they always have like a seasonal display that is just beautiful. So let me show you that. It's really beautiful. They change it all the time. This is definitely a must-see when you're in Vegas, because it's free and it's one of those things you can just see on the strip. And also, I passed this Museum of Illusions. It looked really nice, though I didn't go in. But if you're interested, you can find out about how much it costs and if you can find a deal on Groupon or anything like that. So that was my day 1. On the second day, I headed out and I was off to try a new Bye.